All right, good morning, everyone. Today's assignment is a reading about the revolution unfolding. So far, we looked at yesterday, revisited the causes of the French Revolution in a Nearpod, and additionally, we looked at some of the early events of the French Revolution, like the king calling the Estates General, the idea that they have serious financial issues, Jacques Necker suggesting some improvements and then getting promptly fired, and then things like the storming of the Bastille. Today, what we need to look at is, in your interactive notebook, you should have already completed deficit spending, the king calling the Estates General, and the tennis court oath. This was last Wednesday's assignment, the causes of the French Revolution assignment. You were asked to either take a screenshot of that or take a screenshot or a picture of your physical notes that you took from last Wednesday's reading. Today, you are going to be completing the storming of the Bastille. Additionally, information about the Declaration of Rights of Man and the Citizen, the Women's March to Versailles, controlling church lands, and the Constitution of 1791. It is not enough to just put like a definition of these, right? Make sure that you explain them. So, Declaration of Rights of Man, what was it? What did it do? What did it say, right? Who would be upset about it? Who would love it? Right? Women's March to Versailles. Why did they go? How many? What was the result, right? Controlling the church lands. Who controlled the church lands, right? Who was for this? Who was against this? Why did they decide to do this? And the Constitution of 1791 is a big deal. Make sure that you look at why it was created, right? And like for whom it was created for, right? Not everybody is going to necessarily benefit from the Declaration of Rights of Man and the Constitution. So today's assignment is to read how the revolution unfolded. I went ahead and added the Bastille and the Great Fear in here again because there are several of you that still seemed confused about how the storming of the Bastille actually kind of went down. And so this information right here talks about how the National Assembly, after it formed, right, it took the tennis court oath and they vowed to create a constitution. However, that revolutionary spirit is going to spill over into the streets in the countryside, right, of France. And so you have the storming of the Bastille. It tells you a little bit more about it there. And you also have the Great Fear. So go ahead and, fill in, right, information about the storming of the Bastille right down here. Right, then you have information about the National Assembly actually creating the Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen. Again, there's some study guide questions that are also, kind of highlighted in here, hint, hint, wink, wink. The Women's March on Versailles right here, controlling of the church, the Constitution, right? And then this is actually going to get into right down here, the radicals gaining strength in the National Convention. This is super important because it gets us into the Reign of Terror, which of course sounds terrifying, and it was, right? So how did we get to a point where the revolution actually turns south and things start going really badly? Not just for, of course, the king, but also for some of the people in the Third Estate that really wanted a revolution in the first place. Things do not go exactly how they had intended. All right, so once you are done with that today, make sure that you have these two slides done, 10 and 11. Also, please check for missing assignments. There are many of you that are flirting with digging a pretty deep hole early in the semester, so make sure that you get your work done and turn it in. If you have questions, make sure you email, and I'll see you tomorrow.